Hey guys, Mrs. Kaufman here. How are you? We're going to start. I want you to go ahead and do this just because we need a lot of practice with it. Don't forget your PEMDAS, which means parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. And remember, multiplication and division are like holding hands. They're clinging to each other. So whichever one comes first, either multiplication or division, moving left to right, whichever one of those two comes first, and then the same thing with addition and subtraction. Do whichever one of those two comes first, hand in hand. Multiplication, division together, addition and subtraction together. Okay, so I'd like you to pause the video for a minute and do these problems and see how you do if you remember it really well. Okay, now let's try and get that to move to the next screen. So here are the answers to those problems. Hopefully you did them and that your answers are right. If you didn't get them right, go back and see if you can figure out where the mistakes are that you made. Okay, our essential question today. How is it helpful to write numbers in different ways? Like with exponents and stuff like we've been talking about. Okay, today we're going to talk about one-step expressions and multi-step expressions. Expressions do not necessarily have equation or equal signs in them. If it has an equal sign or a greater than less than sign, it's called an equation. So an expression is kind of the math part without the equal sign. So it would be just like 3 plus 4. We're not necessarily trying to get the answer though. Okay. I hope that makes sense. There's the standards we're meeting today. Okay, here's your vocabulary words for today. There's algebra, variable, algebraic expression, and evaluate. I'd like you to look in your math journals and put these words in them and define them, please. Okay, now we're going to evaluate 16 plus b if b equals 25. Okay, so b is just kind of standing in for 25 because 25 had to step out for a minute. Okay, 25 just came back, so b is going to leave and we're going to put 25 in their spot. Okay, so you've got 16 plus b is really 16 plus 25. And then your answer is going to be 41 because 16 plus 25 is 41. Okay, now we're going to evaluate x minus y if x equals 64 and y equals 27. Okay, just remember x needed a break for a minute, or 64 needed a break for a minute, so x came and stood in its place. And 27 needed a break for a minute, and y came and stood in its place. Does that make sense? Okay, so x minus y equals 64 minus 27. Because 64 came back, so x went away, and 27 came back, so y went away. And the answer is 37, right? Because 27 minus 64 is 37. I hope you guys are understanding this, okay? I know you hate the extra examples. Evaluate 6x if x equals 1/2. Oh, well, this is a little bit more confusing, right? Because what is 6x? That's just hanging out there. Well, really, we read this as 6 times x. So what you would be doing when you put in the 1/2 is reading 6 times 1/2. Let's see how this is solved. 6x equals 6 times 1/2. Have we talked about how this little dot here, when we get to algebra, is what we stand for multiplication? Because if we put an x there like we do in the younger grades, then we kind of get confused with the variables. Is that an x? Is that a multiplication sign? What is that? So when we get to this level, we don't use x to stand for multiplication. We use a little dot. Not to be confused with a decimal, of course. And the answer to that is 3, right? Because 6 times 1/2 equals 3. Or half of 6 is 3. Okay, now we're going to evaluate 5t plus 4 if t equals 3. Now remember, that's really 5 times t plus 4 equals 3. And if we're using our PEMDAS, we already know we have to multiply before we would add. So it would be, we're going to do 5 times 3 plus 4. You're not going to do 3 plus 4. You're going to do 5 times 3 and then add 4 to that. Okay, watch. Equals 15 plus 4, which then is 19. Okay? I hope you understand that. I won't give you another example right now. Oh goodness, now we've got evaluate 4x squared if x equals 1/8. Now remember, we've got to read it like this. 4 times x squared. Okay, so we know we have to do the exponent first, so we're just going to substitute out the x and put in the 1/8 in its spot. And we put it inside parentheses just so that we can make sure the exponent goes to all of 1/8 and not just to the 1. Okay, that's why the parentheses are put in there, just to help keep yourself organized. Okay, all right. So 4 times 1/64, right? Because 1/8 times 1/8 is 1/64. And then we have 1/16, because 4 times 1/64 is 1/16. Okay. Now we're going to evaluate 10 times a plus 7 if a equals 1/5. Now remember that it's 10 times 1/5, right? We're going to replace the a with 1/5 and put it in parentheses just to help keep ourselves organized. Okay, so now we've got 2 plus 7 because 10 times 1/5 is 2. And then we're going to add 7 to it, which is 9, of course. Not too hard, that last little step right here. Okay, now we've got a word problem, your favorite and mine. Khalil is wrapping a gift for his brother's birthday. The box has side lengths that are 1/2 a foot. Use the expression 6s squared, where s represents the length of a side, to find the surface area of the box he is wrapping, and write your answer in square feet. Oh, is this so hard or what? Do you just hate these kind of problems? Okay, let's just slow it down and break it down. Okay, use the expression 6s squared, where s represents the length of a side. This is the length of a side. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're just simply going to substitute 1/2 foot where the s is. So it's going to be 6 times 1/2 foot squared. Okay, watch. 6s squared equals 6 times 1/2 squared. Okay, which is 1/4, because 1/2 times 1/2, it's not 1, right? It's 1/4, because 1/2 times 1/2, 1 times 1 is 1, and 2 times 2 is 4, gets you 1/4, okay? So then you've got 6 times 1/4, which is 6/4, right? Because it's really 6/1 times 1/4, and then we got 6 times 1 is 6, and 1 times 4 is 4. So you get 6/4, which we then simplify and make into a mixed numeral, which is 1 1/2. So the surface area of the box is then 1 1/2 square feet. Okay, hopefully you followed along. If not, go through and follow along again. See if you can figure out how the answer came to be. Okay, how did what you learned today help you answer this question? How is it helpful to write numbers in different ways? Think about that. Okay, and this is the answer from the book. Algebraic expressions can be used to show variables. That's one way to think about it. And then this is your ticket in the door. Find the value of the expression by replacing the variables with numbers of your choice. You can pick whatever you want to stand for W, and you can pick whatever you want to stand for V. Solve the problem and bring it in with your whisk tomorrow. Hope you all have a good night, and I'll see you bright and early, ready to learn math in the morning. Thanks. Have a good night. Bye.